Hello again everybody, back with another video. This one I'm looking at the very massive event they had on the 9th of January when we had the first UK rocket base launch, and what a monumental occasion that was. I stayed up and watched a bit of it, but I decided to turn it off because it was just far too exciting, and I've called it the UK rocket launch garbage. Now this picture here is from a test flight that was done in the States, so we'll go ahead. Here's the BS Launcher 1. I must admit I put the BS on there, and this was, let's say, a test flight in the US, and we'll take a little bit look at the video from that now.
Altitude 3000.
And order base, Cosmic Girl is starting the turn to the inbound. Pulling now. Pull.
Pulling.
Release.
Release, release, release.
Release.
Dist is ignited. Confirm Newton 3 engine startup. Max Alpha achieved. TV stays in first stage, looking good.
We had a pretty awesome view up here.
Max Q Alpha achieved. Stage 1 burn nominal. Stage set, brake wires broken. Newton 4 startup complete.
Recovered, and we are now returning to base.
Bearing, brake wires broken.
Launcher 1's in space. Sounds like the blue skies went to black.
Okay, so there you go. Did you see that rocket pitch up at 45 degrees and go up into space? It was a very, very short video clip, and I can't find anything on YouTube or Google where it shows that rocket going any higher than you first saw. But let's take a look now at some of the code related to the Cornwall in the UK base launch, where the 747 took off and over the Atlantic somewhere launched BS Launcher 1, and allegedly it was partially successful. But let's have a look at some of the code involved in this rubbish anyway. So this was a previous launch, and this one was called the Straight Up mission. And there we go, look, Virgin Orbit, National Systems, Straight Up. We've got here on, this was the thumbnail to the video that plays. I'm not going to play this particular video, but you can see there it's 12:12 for 33, and that was the time that was fixed on the thumbnail. And Straight Up happens to be 37-inch LD numerology for 3 7s for 777, and 37 is a factor of 666, and 18 37s are 666. So this was the 2nd of July. So we've got kind of a 2 7s here for 77 too. So coming on to the UK, so it's getting really excited now. This was the UK launch, very spectacularly exciting footage, and we'll look at that later. But the first stage of the mission proved successful. The Virgin Orbit's Cosmic Girl, this is the carrier Boeing 747, took off from Spaceport Cornwall, that sounds great, doesn't it, on January the 9th as planned, and released the Launcher One rocket over the Atlantic at 11:11, or that's Greenwich Mean Time, or 6:11 p.m. if that's European time, or I'm not quite sure what that means, but we've got a 6:11 there, and 6 by 11 is 66, And what is 66 in full reduction or Pythagorean? Well, 33 is. So we've got some code there. So here's Cosmic Girl, and Cosmic Girl, in terms of English ordinal, where A is 1, Z is 26, is 108, a very popular number, which is the internal angle of a pentagon. Now here's from Wikipedia, here's Launcher 1, and we've got here, the first flight was the 25th of May 2020. 25th of May is 777, which is basically 37 full reduction, giving us 777. So we've got a 7 there. We've got a project cost, 700 million US dollars. So we've got a 7 there. And we've also got a height of 70 feet. So another 7 there. We've got here, its payload mass, 660 pounds. So we've got 66 for 33 again. Here we've got a diameter of 1.8 meters. So 18 is 3 6s for 666. And 5 by 11 is 55. And 5 is 48. And 48 is also 666 in Pythagorean numerology. So very interesting there. And going down here, burn time is 180 seconds. So we've got another 18 for 3 6s for 666. And that is 3 minutes. 360s. We've got a diameter here of 4'11", so we've got 44 for death's doors, or the kill number. We've got the maximum power of 22.2 kilonewtons in a vacuum. How rocket engines work in a vacuum, I have no idea. Doesn't make sense. I will talk about that in a future video. And we've got a burn time here again for 360 seconds for the second stage. So we've got 3 by 6 for 666, and that is 6 minutes. So we've got a 3 minutes for the first stage and a 6 for the second. So we've got another 3 6s there. So coded right the way through. And basically the total burn time is around 9 minutes for both stages. And it's going to go from around 6.63 miles up to 310 miles. Accelerating from around 450 miles per hour drop speed to 17,030 miles per hour for a 310 mile orbit. So he's got to do quite a lot in that short time. And we've also got here the height is 21.3, so we've got a 3 and a 3 for 33 there too. So this is the UK mission, where it takes off from Cornwall, Spacewalk Cornwall, and the mission is called Start Me Up. So look at Start Me Up. That's 133 in ordinal, and in Chaldean it's 37, so 3 7s for 777, and 133 here is 600, 3 score and 6. That is the biblical words for 666. And you'll see that gives us a 313 and a 133. The same as Start Me Up does. And these numbers have appeared quite a lot. I've seen them and I've never kind of worked out where they're from. But if we look where that may have been used, we had the Dunblane massacre. Alleged massacre, and in this basically the result of this was private gun ownership in the UK virtually disappeared. So obviously there was a result from this, and if we look when it happened, it was the 13th of March, so that can be 13-3, 133, and it can be 313 for March 13th. So you can see that one meets both of those for 600, 3 score and 6. And in this one, The total deaths and injured was 18 plus 15, and guess what that comes to? The magic 33. Where else it's used? The planet Uranus, which obviously is innuendo associated with that, which from the creatures that run us, they probably find that quite amusing. But that was discovered on the 13th of March. So again, as in the Dunblane massacre, it meets this biblical 666. And Uranus or Uranus is also the 7th planet. And just for interest, National Westminster Bank PLC sort code is 600606. So we've got 600, 3 score for 60 and 6. Just a coincidence, yeah. But let's move on and get back onto the space thing. So here, obviously we've got a diamond, and diamond is in full reduction or Pythagorean is 33. We've got spaceport, which is 113, which is 3 11s for 33. Cornwall is 98, that's 7 plus 7 for 14 times 7. So you can see lots and lots of code involved here. Now, it did fail, yeah? So the first stage burned and the second stage ignited, but apparently only lasted for a minute. So isn't that about 3 minutes plus 1? So it burnt for 4 minutes. And the fact it didn't burn enough meant it all fell back to Earth and they lost everything. But here we've got the plane flew to an altitude of 10,600 kilometers. It should be meters. That would be pretty high for the jumbo jet to fly. So it's 10,600 meters. They obviously got that wrong, and we've got a 7 there. It's achieved an altitude of 180 kilometers rather than the required 555 kilometers, and 555 is 72, and 777 in Chaldean is also 72. The second engine reportedly ignited for its first burn at an altitude of 105 kilometers. Well, 666 is 105 and 911 is 105, this being in Pythagorean and this being in English ordinal. A is 1, Z is 26. So loads of code there. And we've also got later in the mission at an altitude of approximately 180 kilometers, the upper stage experienced an anomaly. So we've got another 18, as we saw earlier, for 3 6s for 666. And here's what actually happened. Well, not a lot happened. Just another fake rocket not going into space. Well, this one didn't anyway. But if you look here, this was the required altitude for the low Earth orbit was 311 miles. So 311 to 33. And this is just explaining that here. So we've got 33 code in there. We've also got a 2202 for master number 222. Plenty of code. We've got here 2310, which if you look at that on a PM type, it's 1110, which gives us 111, which in binary is a 7 for our 7 code. And here we've got 11 or 2355, which is 1155. At 11 and 55, then we end up with 66. I've shown that here. And 33 is 66, so we've got another 33 there. Now, you saw that probably should have burnt for about 4 minutes. Now, this is some pretty bad, it's probably good at the time, from the original Flash Gordon, and I don't think we see much better technology here. So let's take a look now at this failed UK-based launch, and you'll be absolutely breathless with the coverage and the technology that's on show when they do this. Much better than SpaceX, as you'll see. Now, I will come back and interrupt during this video, and then we'll finish off. So let's go on and take a look.
Cosmic Girl is now on the runway taking off. And we are wheels off the ground. Godspeed Launcher 1, Godspeed Cosmic Girl on this historic both European and UK mission to open space for everyone.
Now, like me, you probably were expecting to see a well-lit 747 flying through the air with RAF spotter planes with high-resolution cameras all focused in on this to capture this monumental event, and that's what I was expecting, but I've already cut a lot out already, but this is it. This is as good as it gets, and you'll see as it progresses that the various meters there mean nothing, and they actually miss the drop and the first ignition. It is absolutely farcical that in this day and age, when the UK is meant to be launching its first rocket from the UK soil, and we end up with this bullshit. So let's get on anyway.
Welcome back. Just a quick update from the MCC. As you can see on the screen right now, we have made it through our cold pass, and we're now working through the hot pass. The counter on the left-hand side is a little bit of a misnomer because it's really dropper ready time. And I also did want to mention, you probably saw a quick camera feed that we had where the screen looked black. That's actually nominal because that was a live camera feed from the camera that's actually on the rocket underneath the payload fairing. You can see now this is an aft camera view from the drop. So we have, it looks to be a successful ignition of the stage 1 engine.
I take it all back. Space is real, rockets going to space. Look at that. That is bloody impressive, isn't it? Come on. You see, it must be, all taken aback with the fantastic footage there, convincing footage of this rocket blasting into space. Oh my God.
Like I had said before, a lot happens very quickly after drop. You can see here that we're actually getting towards the end of our stage 1 burn. Everything is nominal so far. We've had our pitch up on the bottom, on the burn time that you can see on the graphical user interface if you do have that one up. We have made it through max Q alpha, which is one of the most stressful physical moments for the rocket, very comfortably through max Q. And then also through our maximum heat, aerodynamic heat heating.
Now, that's all the video footage I think there is. This thing goes on and on and on and on and on. But what I'll do is I'll just speed it up and stop it at a few points. I can't inflict this on you, it's just not fair.
We have made it through MECO, our main engine cutoff. That is our Newton 3
Before startup complete.
engine shutdown is reported as nominal. And if we can go back to our aft camera,
Bearing brake wire is broken.
we have stage separation. You may see dropouts in the data during the flight here. That is expected as we're switching between the different ground stations that are picking up the signal from the rocket.
Now, I have to admit I'm very confused here because that second stage, according to those graphics, burnt for 4 minutes. And it said after it all fizzled out in the long run that it only burned for 1 minute. And that altitude and speed indicator has been going up and down like a yo-yo, and eventually ends up really, really, well, 0 and negative figures. Now I've had to speed this to times 40 because it's just unbearable to watch, and I don't know what any of the gauges are reading. The time looks to be working, but there's nothing else. Maybe they should have asked SpaceX for some help on CGI and time clocks and fake speed indicators and things, because at least they do work on their videos, I must admit.
Welcome back, everyone. This is, of course, the least interesting part of the flight. We are in S2 coast, so there's not a lot happening, and you're not probably hearing a lot of audio come from the Mission Control Center. But I did want to let you know that Cosmic Girl is only minutes away from landing. That is our primary mission, is safety here at Virgin Orbit, and we want to ensure that our flight crew and all the folks on the ground are ultimately safe at all phases of our mission. So yeah, just a quick update here from the MCC. We'll be back with more in a moment.
No, we're not going to see any more of that before everybody switches off and goes and watches another YouTube video somewhere else. But what I will do is just show you the high-tech visitors centre at Spaceport in Cornwall. I think it's Newquay Airport, I'm not sure. But look at that. Look at that, impressive. Look at the big screens and everything. Very, very high tech. Not why anybody would want to go and sit in the middle of a field to watch a jumbo jet take off. And that's it, because the rocket allegedly launched way, way, way out into the Atlantic, which they wouldn't have been able to see. Obviously, they pulled out all the stops, no expense spared for this event. And as a summary, because I've just talked about the times and rocket burns and the fact that the thing they were covering wasn't actually happening according to the reports that came out later, I'd like to just go through just a quick summary of the mission to show the point I'm trying to make. The point we reached then was 30 minutes into the launch, so I've used their graphic that they used on that video, and I've put in where the 1800 minute point. So this scale changes and gets bigger and bigger in terms of the numbers between each of these gaps. So here we've got 1700 between each of these, and when we're down here we got 50. So if we looked at what they said they did, they burn time around 3 minutes for stage 1. Got it up to 100 kilometres, and then stage 2 kicked in, burnt for a minute, and then it failed, and that got us up to about 170-ish, so 150 to 170 kilometres, and then he failed. So we had it fail here, and we had all that stuff in the video playing to here, and they didn't know it had failed. How on earth? So instead of doing all this stuff, it probably did that, if it was meant to do anything at all. I don't believe for a minute this thing was going up here. They flew that aeroplane way out into the Atlantic. Nobody could see it from the so-called space port. Why on earth people turned up, I've got no idea, to that high-tech visitors centre that you could see earlier. Oh dear, it's just so bad. So that's all from me for now. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and goodbye from Vague Space.